Hello and welcome everybody to Business Mastery Live Webinar Wednesdays. We're going to go ahead and get started real quick. Come on, let's get into it. All right, Business Mastery Live Wednesday webinars. If you guys didn't know, my name is Cheston Bolgen. The company is By the Books Consulting, looking to deliver some value inside of the financial mastery, organization, the bookkeeping, the tax strategy, making sure that you're compliant. Some of the things that you would do inside of business, you and I would do inside of business to make sure that we keep winning, okay? Long-term sustainability. And we do that through accounting and bookkeeping, the QuickBooks advisory, tax strategy, tax advisory, and tax services, filing and preparation of your taxes, and also some business advisory. Guys, we have a QuickBooks bootcamp coming up on Sunday, this Sunday, upcoming. If you have not yet registered for this thing, then you want to get registered today, okay? Make sure you get registered for this boot camp. It's not like your normal QuickBooks training. This is actually going to be applicable, boots to ground for you, okay? So make sure you get registered for this, and I will see you on Sunday. Excited to be with you then. And you can do that by going to youraccountingsuperhero.com/QBO-bootcamp-registration. You don't need to put the superhero in there. You can just put QBO-bootcamp registration. Quick disclaimer before we get started. The following is for educational purposes only and is not to be considered financial, accounting, or legal advice. Please consult your tax, accounting, and/or legal professional for specific advice. All right, and so real quick, just the foundation of our platform here. Number one is intentionality, which is mindset mastery. We go over this every week. So just to give you an idea, nothing really gets moved forward until we move ourselves out of the way. That's mindset mastery. Financial mastery, which is also financial literacy, understanding that number story. That's also a tenet that we have here. Structures, system mastery. We could do more with less, right? We leverage things. Make sure once we do something, it is out here doing the job for us. And we don't have to necessarily repeat or reinvent the wheel over and over and over again. And of course, actions. Nothing happens without actions and execution. All right. Without this, we get no result, guys. So all of these must be in place. So this is why these are our 4 tenets. And we're in a conversation about tax season. It's the middle of November. And we're coming up on Thanksgiving, by the way, guys. Hope you all are doing something special for the holidays. Man, got my family coming in to visit us just while I'm here. And this is why we do what we do. We do what we do so that we can live our lives the way that we want to live our lives as entrepreneurs. And if you're doing something special for Thanksgiving, go ahead and share that, man. If you're watching this now live, or if you're watching this as a recording, go ahead and share. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? Excited to see what you guys are up to. We're just hanging out. We're chilling. We have a whole bunch of family coming in. We are hosting this year. I haven't really hosted Thanksgiving in multiple years. It's the first time we're hosting Thanksgiving in like a long time, man. It's been several years since I've done this. So if you are excited about Thanksgiving, you're having some type of special Thanksgiving, leave that in the chat. What are you doing? What are you up to? I'd like to hear that. So back to this conversation, is about tax preparation, making sure that you're ready for tax season. Why do you want to be ready? A lot of times we'll go into tax season and there's a bill, like there's an amount owed, a shocker for you and I as entrepreneurs if we're not prepared, okay? So you want to make sure we do everything in our power to win. What does winning look like? Well, winning looks like I keep more of my hard-earned money. There are incentives, there are strategies, there are tactics that we can use throughout the year to make sure we keep more money in our pocket legally. And it really takes being in the process of reviewing what has happened up until now inside of the year. Last week, we began this conversation and we talked more so about mindset than getting right into this specific issue, or this specific area rather. And I want to make sure we complete on this and give you an opportunity to win inside of your year-end review processes so that you get exactly what you want out of your business come tax time. Okay, no surprises. You keep more of your hard-earned money and you keep it moving. Make sense? So what are we looking at right now? Major financial statements that we want to keep an eye on is our profit and loss and our balance sheet. Profit and loss, because we want to see performance-wise, what do we do? What was the net income of our operation this year? And there's something here on your screen that says tax account reconciliation. So basically, what we want to look at, you and I, when it comes to comparison of this profit and loss statement, we want to understand what it is that we actually paid in taxes versus what we owe. So a profit and loss statement will give us a net income, and that net income will let us know, well, how much taxes do I really owe? How much in taxes do I really owe for the operation of this business? Now, if you've been paying your quarterly estimated taxes throughout the year, then you know that you paid into it, but we want to check how much that you either underpaid or overpaid by getting an idea of this net income of your business. Okay. Now, if you're set up as a single member LLC and you haven't elected anything else, then you're going to be treated as a sole proprietor. Basically, that means that you're going to be subjected to what we call the self-employment tax. So we want to understand, well, what is the impact of being subjected to self-employment tax in terms of money that you have to pay. That number is going to be 15.3% of that net amount, more so, like roundabouts. 15.3% of that net amount of your business income. Okay. In addition to that 15.3%, if you're a sole proprietor, you're going to end up owing whatever it is percentage-wise of your tax bracket. For example, if you're 12% tax bracket, you're going to have an additional 12% of federal income tax on top of that 15.3%. If you are at the highest tax bracket, you're going to end up being at 37% plus that 15.3% of that income. Okay. Now, this is going to be roundabouts because some of you are like really high tax brackets and you're still set up as a LLC, like single member LLC, self-employed individual. So you're treated as a sole proprietor, and your income, like tax bracket, is way up there. So you want to understand, well, what is it that you need to pay? Because at some levels, as you get to a certain level, you don't have to pay any more Social Security tax, which is a portion of that self-employment tax. So you want to understand these numbers when you go into it. Okay. Understand what your tax bracket is. Understand, what it is, what it looks like to be subject to self-employment tax. All right. This goes for partnerships as well. Right? If you're a partnership, you're dealing with the same thing. Okay. But the idea behind this is really be clear on what it is that you're making, what it is that you're netting inside of your business. And then now you could be clear. Not only clear as far as what you owe for the year in terms of taxes, but now you can be clear on choices, because there's still time in the year to adjust these numbers. There's still time this year to have strategies and actions to reduce the overall net income of your business. The beautiful thing about being a business owner is that you have control. You have control over your tax exposure. Less control if you're an employee. Not as much control there. But as a business owner, if I take a look at these numbers, profit and loss wise, whoa, wait, I'm making a little bit too much money here on paper. What can I legally do to reduce that amount? What kind of strategies can I put in place? So sometimes we can do things like, put extra into retirement. You can max out your retirement. And you don't necessarily have to pay on this amount here, right? You can reduce that amount by deferring that into retirement. You can purchase assets. A lot of people throughout this year purchase assets so they can take advantage of depreciation of those assets, especially heavy duty vehicles. You can hire people toward the end of this year so that you can get tax credits for the types of people that you hire. You can start a family office management company and have this income mitigated between the two different businesses now and reduce the overall exposure. You can pay your children what they need to be paid throughout the year if they've been helping with your business, or give them a role in your business so you can help them reduce that income. Right? You can come up with an accountable plan for reimbursements for the business using your personal resources, either your time or your travel or your home or any other thing that you have that the business is using. You can have an accountable plan for reimbursement. So a lot of these tactics and strategies are available to you, but if you're not taking a look at what your overall exposure is right here, right now, in terms of your net operating income of your business, then you're not going to be prepared. Okay. So here's what we normally see. We normally see people come at the end of the year and say, hey, look, we need to just get our books in order. And that's not where you want to be. Okay. If you're an entrepreneur just getting started out, you want to make sure that all throughout the year, your bookkeeping processes are tight so that you have access to knowing where you stand when it comes to taxes. The only way that you know where you stand when it comes to taxes is to be clear on your, financial performance. How much money did I make? So a lot of people can be intimidated, or they don't want to necessarily look at this information because it sucks to have to owe money on taxes. We want to keep our money. But the beauty of it as an entrepreneur is that you get to keep your money. Okay. It's just, how do we do it in a systematic, organized way so that we play in this game at a high level? We play this game in a way that makes us win every single time. People talk about Donald Trump and him not paying taxes, or paying less taxes than the average citizen in comparison. And some get upset about that. Some don't. And I'm one of those people that says, hey, look, if there's a game we play, well, why not play that game to a high degree so that I can win as well? Right? He's just doing things that are available, the same things that are available to you and I in a lot of cases. Some of them are not available to you, but a lot of them are. And you want to play the game as such to where you're going to win inside of tax strategy, if that makes sense. Right? So that's the impact of the profit and loss statement. We want to make sure we understand the net income, which is going to give us an impact on our taxes. And then it's also going to give us the choices that we want to take from this point moving forward. And we want to make sure that before the end of the year comes, before 12/31/2023 comes, that we've taken all the actions possible inside of reducing the overall tax exposure. Okay. Now we're looking at other things like balance sheet. Now, balance sheet can give us an idea. We're going to shift off of taxes for now. And we're going to talk about, well, how do I use this information to propel my business forward? Well, the balance sheet will give us like certain ratios and certain ideas of how healthy the business is. Right? It'll tell us, well, how much are we getting out of our assets? What's the asset performance? In terms of asset turnover, we can look at that. How many multiples times the assets are we producing in income? And what can we do about that moving forward? If we won our game big, great. Well, how can we do more next year? If we didn't win our game, okay, that's good. Also, now I know that I need to do something to improve next year. This will give us access to new choices, new decisions, so that every single year you're leveling up. And really, this could be an every single month process, guys. We don't have to wait a whole year to level up inside of our business based on the information that we see. Now, we can get real quick insight to asset performance inside of a balance sheet. We can look at, what are our fixed assets inside of, like if you're a trucking company, or if you're another company that has like a heavy asset base, then you want to see, right? Like what is it that our assets are doing here? And we want to be able to break it down per asset if possible inside of your financial tracking processes. So basically that looks like, well, I have this, if I'm a trucking company and I have unit 1, and unit 1 produced this amount of revenue all year long, right? So we can get an indication of how that asset is performing in terms of the revenue that it produced versus unit number 2 or unit number 3 or unit number 4. Now we can see all these, all of this information rather, that gives us insight into how our assets are performing. And then we can start making choices from here. Like maybe if you're in the trucking industry, again, if you have flatbed versus dry van versus reefer, we can look at all of those assets in terms of the trailer, the equipment, and see which assets are performing more than others. And then make choices as to where we're going to focus our efforts from this point moving forward. You can do that with anything. You can do that with your people, right? Your team, your staff. If you have a landscaping company, we can look at certain employees, certain contractors, and say, okay, this person is performing this much revenue, and they're costing me this much in expenses. This person is doing well efficiency-wise. This person is not doing as well efficiency-wise. What type of choices can we make moving forward? Now, these are going to be straight numbers in front of you and I that give us clear choices. Now, what could get in the way is our feelings about the choices we make, and that's what we want to manage for ourselves. We call that mindset mastery. We want to move ourselves out of the way so that we can make the decisions that work for our overall intention in life. Like, what is the purpose that we're here for? What is the goal? What are we looking to accomplish here? Right? And we want to make decisions based off of that and nothing else. All right. So that's the benefit of being able to look at this information toward the year-end review process. And we can change the game, change the scope of what you're looking at by making this even a more regular process for you and I. We can do it monthly. We can do it weekly. Well, what do we do performance-wise this week? How can we change the game? How can we level up next week? We did this much in profit. We had a margin of 5%. Well, can I get that to 6? Can I get that to 7? And if I get that to 6 or 7, well, what's the tax implication of that? How much do I owe in taxes? Okay, how much do I need to keep cash on hand for our personal use? How much do we need for operations? Well, we can move this into retirement because we don't need this cash here. We can have it actually grow in another account. We can hire people that are in certain demographics that actually perform well, and we can get tax credits for them so we can actually make more money in this way. All right, we want to start thinking along those lines so that over time, you just keep winning and winning and winning at bigger levels. And it just really takes that one step, guys, the one choice, the one action to be able to do this. And to be able to do it time after time after time again takes a whole new level of integrity. Okay, and you want to have that integrity put into place. All right, so this call was basically to wrap up on the concept that we did not wrap up on last week. Hopefully this is a complete thing for you guys. Now, the thing that I want you to be left with, the thing I want you to take away from this call is you want to make sure you have a process where you're looking at your number story. And when you're looking at this number story, this wants to be very reliable and very clear and very straight. It wants to be the truth. So if you don't have the truth, there's most likely an error or a gap in your bookkeeping and financial tracking processes that you want to bridge. Okay. Now, if you need help bridging that gap, there's a boot camp coming up on Sunday. Definitely make sure you take advantage of that boot camp that's coming up, because we'll go over things like this, how to make sure you are looking at the truth inside of your finances, how to leverage technology to make it easy for you, specifically QuickBooks Online on this boot camp. And once you have those processes structured so that you can see everything and you can look at the numbers all the way around, guys, sky's the limit. Sky is the limit. There's so many implications here that we're just scratching the surface. Okay. But look, it's been great being with you. That's it for today, guys. I will see you next week on the next live webinar. Take care.